and so we get lost in that because it cannot be intellectualized. It's not a thought, it's not an emotion. We can call it awareness, we can call it the universe, we can call it source, we can call it spirit, whatever. Every moment is a new moment. In fact, is that it's just one moment all the time, and it's always new. You've never seen this before ever. This is completely new. What is it that is never coming and going? What is it that is always remaining? What is it that has always been there, even before you opened your eyes, when you were born, even when you were still in the womb? Ooh, this word is very offensive, I think, to a lot of people. And a lot of people are misunderstanding the word God, what it actually means. And we tend to fight each other or argue about whatever it means. And sometimes we even tend to go to war about what this word means. Which is kind of ironic, because it's actually the complete opposite to what God actually means. And this is how I define God, and hopefully if you're watching this, you probably define it in the same way. And obviously it's also difficult to put it into words, because it's everything that we have ever experienced. Even the thoughts that are seeking God, they are God seeking itself. But it's just gotten a little bit lost in the story of the person who's always thinking that it has everything figured out. The person that thinks that I know everything now, I know reality, I know what God is, I know who I am, I know what I'm doing, I'm this, I'm a man, I'm from Sweden, I'm this and this, whatever. And we get lost in our own intellect. We're trying to intellectualize the word God. And so we get lost in that because it cannot be intellectualized. It's not a thought, it's not an emotion, it's a recognition of what has always been there. We all have it. And it's the same underlying intelligence that is driving the entirety of reality, of the universe. It's like the wind blowing, me feeling the wind on my skin, or my nail growth, or my hair growth, or the planets orbiting the stars, or our star orbiting the local group, or whatever it's called, the galaxy, right? Or I don't know, all of that stuff, right? The flapping of the wings of a butterfly, our pupils when exposed to light, they shrink. That intelligence that knows that when we chop off a leaf of a tree, it will grow out again. When we talk, there are sound waves produced that hit the eardrum, and then our mind is able to understand what that sound means, and we create images in our mind towards that sound that creates, like, all of that is God. It's that it is right. It exists in existence, which makes it God. There's just one thing. There's just one thing, and that thing is God. And we all have it in our experience all the time. We can call it awareness, we can call it the universe, we can call it source, we can call it spirit, whatever, or God. It's the same thing that entails all of that. All of those words mean and point towards the same thing. And finding our way back, or remembering our way back to God, that which we were when we took birth here. Pure awareness, when we had no person to identify with, when we had no aspect of seeking something in the future all the time, when all of these things that we have gotten conditioned and that has been installed in our mind throughout our upbringing, when that didn't exist, when we were completely free from that, we were one with God. We were one with awareness. We were that. We were just that experiencing itself for the first time. We didn't even know that we were, right? We just was, without knowing that we were. Which is kind of interesting when you think about it. But finding our way back to that, maybe you can, if you think about this yourself now, watching this on a device that is also God, because everything is God. If you think your way back to how you used to operate as a kid and how you were looking at the world then, it was way more direct and true and real, and you were an explorer, And when you saw a tree, you just wanted to go and climb that tree. And when you saw a flower, you just wanted to pick that flower. Or maybe not even pick it, just allow it to be what it is. Or animals, right? The first time you experienced experience, how curious everything was. And then when we grew older, we started having all these thoughts about how reality is supposed to work. Oh, I know reality now, I've seen this before. No, you haven't. Every moment is a new moment. In fact, is that it's just one moment all the time, and it's always new. You've never seen this before, ever. This is completely new. Why do we walk around and believe that we have done this before? We haven't. It's just our mind convincing us that we are experiencing this. I know a reality now. I don't need to be as excited as I was when I was a kid. I don't need this curiosity anymore. Of course you do. That doubt, that's also God. All the thoughts that tell us that I'm not supposed to feel this way or think this way, that's just God, right? It's God thinking within itself, right? So recognizing our way back to that as that state, it's not a state, but let's call it that for now, that we used to exist in as a kid, is all about remembering what we actually are. When we stop identifying with all the noise in here, I'm this person, I'm, like I said before, we don't need that to survive. We will survive perfectly fine without the narrative in our mind, this voice talking to us all the time. It sounds like our own voice trying to convince us who we are. We don't need that. Fact is that without that, we would survive in a much more pleasant way. We wouldn't be stuck in fight or flight anymore. We wouldn't be stuck in survival. We wouldn't have this tendency to resist pain or to grasp for pleasure, to believe that happiness is in the future all the time. That thing would be gone if we stopped identifying with the mind, with the personality, with all the traumas and insecurities and everything that we have been through. All of that would be, we wouldn't see that as ourselves anymore. We'd be free from that prison. And when we're free from that prison, all possibilities just open up automatically. And to find ourselves back to that point, again, it's just remembering who we are. Who am I? Who am I really? Who is the one that has been looking out through my eyes since I took birth? Who is it that has always been in here? When pain has come and gone, when pleasure has come and gone, when relationships have come and gone, when all of these things that we have experienced in our life has come and gone. Trauma has come and gone. Insecurities have come and gone. Pleasure, happiness, fulfillment, career, people, everything has come and gone, except one thing. What is that thing? What is it that is never coming and going? What is it that is always remaining? What is it that has always been there, even before you opened your eyes, when you were born, even when you were still in the womb? There was something there. That thing will outlast your physical life. It will outlast this mental chatter. That's God. That's God in you. And it's always now. 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 It's always now. It will never be anywhere else but now. Anything else but now. It's never in the past, it's never in the future, it's now. All the time. And when we know that to be absolutely true, because that is actually, at least how I perceive things, the only thing that is actually true. Everything else is just a story made up from our mind, from our personality. And when we learn to know that to be absolutely true, that knowing will grow. And it's the same knowing as the knowing of our own existence. It's the same knowing. Who knows that you exist, and where does that knowing sit? Usually will come from behind, can come quite far from behind, and then eventually will come closer and closer and closer and closer to you until it will be who you are. But it's simply holding on to the knowing of your own existence and trying to find is the wrong word, but trying to just ask yourself, what the fuck is that? What the hell is that? What is that knowing? It's the most curious thing ever. How can I have overlooked it? How can I have overlooked this my entire life? It's crazy that I missed this knowing of existence, which is always now, which is always curious, which is always innocent, which is so simple, which gives us a sense of meaning, a sense of fulfillment, a sense of peace, a sense of connection with people. And it's always now. And when we can learn to rest in that knowing in everyday life, we go to bed with that knowing, we wake up with that knowing, we pick it back up when we're, doing some activity, whatever. It's like, of course, we'll become unaware of it. That's okay. Like, it's fine, and we will suffer, and we will get caught up in the drama of the character of the person. But that's fine. That's also God, right? It's also God just experiencing itself. It's just this entire activity that we're watching. But then just coming back to the knowing of that, the knowing of I'm here. If we can just return to that, then, and do that as often as possible, and putting in the reps like we would train the muscles in the gym, then eventually all our perceived problems will cease to be problems. They will become more like opportunities for deeper understanding of who we are. And in that we will find shelter, safety, peace, belonging, a sense of always being home. And that's all we need, really. That is all we need, because out of that, everything else will be born. Out of that, we will find our purpose. Out of that, we'll find more connection with people. Out of that, we'll find a life free from resistance, less suffering, less stress, less anxiety, less worry, less fear. So, at least what I have found, it's all I really need to do. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want to, like and comment as well, and I'll see you next time.